And to them, I say, look at this crowd. Over 6,000 people here at Kulak's. So I did this, and I told stories. I want to tell stories tonight. Some I've never told before, and some I have, and try to just keep doing this until I'm done. Until I'm done. I'm broke, or I've told everything I had to say, because this is it. The only thing I care about doing right now is this. So thanks for coming out tonight. I mean, I know just about everybody here. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it, because you just can't do this by yourself. You can't do it alone. There are 2 comedy albums that were recorded without an audience. In the modern era, Alan King did one, and Buddy Hackett. And I have both those albums. They are so bad. They're so bad. The guys are rushing through the material. They don't know where the laughs are, because there are no laughs, man. And their timing is all off. So you cannot do it without it. I mean, that's the whole thing, and people know that. I love it. I got like these 2 guys in the back, Bursky and Alan Steven, and I could just see the shadow, but I know what their faces are doing right now. They're just kind of like, yeah, okay, all right. I love that. I love that. Just little shadowy kind of figures back there. So perfect. So I did this documentary back in 2009. It's called I Am Comic, with Jordan Brady directed it. And when we went around, we interviewed different people. And one of the things I wanted to ask every comic if they could remember their first laugh. So we were interviewing, at the time, he was 95 years old, Professor Irwin Corey. If you remember Professor Irwin Corey, right? He was like the expert at double talk. He would go out and open his pitch by going, and furthermore, which I always loved that. Begin, and furthermore. I did no justice to Professor Irwin Corey there. But anyway, we were interviewing him in his house, and I just go to Irwin Corey. I say, do you remember your first laugh? He doesn't miss a beat. He says, 1922, the New York Jewish orphanage. And he does this poem that he said in that class that got a laugh, this funny little poem. He remembered it. He did it. And I thought, myself, I remember my first laugh. I think every stand-up comic remembers the first laugh. And I was in first grade, and my friend Stephen Rowley was sitting next to me, and he was drawing a boat. And he had put the water line in, and he was drawing the bottom of his boat, and below the water line, he punched his pencil too hard through the paper. And I said to him, got a leak cap? And he laughed so loud, we both got sent to the front of the room. And I never knew how funny I was when I was young. When I started doing stand-up comedy, a friend of mine came up to me and they said, you were always funny in grade school. You're always funny. You're making everybody laugh on the playground. You're always funny. And I don't remember performing at all. And my mom had this picture. She gave me this picture, and it's me at about 2nd or 3rd grade, and I got this little hat on, this little crown kind of hat, and I got this sword, this mock sword. I'm on stage by myself like this. I said, Mom, I performed. She goes, not really. I go out, she goes, you're in this play, you came out, you raised the sword, you're supposed to say something, you forgot what you're supposed to say, you stood there, the teacher yelled out the line, you didn't even repeat the line, and you walked off. And everybody laughed. And I said, well, I got the laugh. So I never thought of myself as a performer. In fact, I was not a performer. And I remember I ran for a student council office in high school. And I was sitting up there. I had prepared this speech. And the guy before me, the guy in front of me, he was very funny. Bill Hoyman. He was very funny. He did a very funny speech. And I got real intimidated. I go, I didn't prepare anything funny. I didn't know you could be funny. I thought you were supposed to be serious. We're running for, like, student council president, man. I didn't know you could be funny. He was really funny. I had the whole place laughing. And I got so intimidated. I walked up. I looked at my speech. I lost my spot. I started tears coming to my eyes. I looked at the crowd. I just went, well, vote for me. And I sat down. And that was it. That was it. I mean, people remember that. They go, I couldn't believe that you became a performer because you were so obviously not a performer. Not at all. And I mean, I circled the microphone the long way around. It took me the long way around. I was in college sophomore year, 1972 in the spring, and I was flunking out of Gettysburg College. And one of the upperclassmen, a senior, said, you need to get a boat class. I go, what do you mean a boat class? It's the definite beat. You need to get a class that will give you a definite beat. So I took this Speech 101 class, public speaking, which I had no intention of being any kind of public speaker. And Harry Bullock, this very gay guy who became sort of like, almost like my comedy mentor. So the first time I go into class and some people are speaking and they're doing like a Gettysburg Address, obviously. They're doing all these regular speeches and that sort of thing. And Harry said, you can do anything you want. And he was trying to tell everybody, do anything you want, but they just kept coming in with like a Winston Churchill speech, or people just were doing that. So I went back to my room, and I got out David Bowie album, and the song Changes. I took and wrote down the lyrics to Changes. This is a pre any kind of, I couldn't go to lyrics.com. I mean, I literally painstakingly lift the needle up, put it back to the beginning, lift the needle up, put it back, slowly wrote down every word, and I kind of knew, I looked back and I kind of knew that when I went changes, dead serious, I just read it, dead serious, like just flat serious, it would get and it got a laugh. It got a big laugh. People laughed at me just reading this David Bowie song. And after the class, everybody was leaving, and Harry Bullock pulled me aside. He said, "That was very funny. Can you do that again?" Like, he almost challenged me. "Can you do it again?" So I went back for the next class that I had to speak, and I took the Rolling Stones song "Sympathy for the Devil," and I wrote a parody of it. My dad was in the insurance business, so I wrote "Sympathy for the Insurance Salesman." And again, I just like wrote down all the lyrics and twisted them around, and I got into class and I got laughs. Where I expected to get laughs, I got laughs. It was the first time ever that I planned to get laughs and got laughs from people doing what I didn't know was stand-up comedy. I was just doing this thing. And Harry Bullock said, "You're very funny." And he encouraged me. He said, "You should," they have this like theater group. He said, "You should go write sketches for them. Go write." So I wrote sketches for these people to do in college. And he would take me down to see plays down in Washington, D.C., and he took me to see Dr. Strangelove at the theater, which he sort of gave me Lenny Bruce albums, which I hadn't had before. And he sort of helped me get into comedy, more into comedy. And I still didn't, there was no way that I understood to get to perform. And the only time that I came close, the only time I came close before I actually performed stand-up comedy, in 1976, 4th of July weekend, at a place called the Ocean Drive Inn down in Wildwood, New Jersey. Now, this is bicentennial anniversary of our country's birth. It was 4th of July weekend. It was the wildest weekend. Everybody was down there getting drunk, getting hammered. There were flags everywhere. And two guys who went to my high school, who were a couple of years ahead of me, they were the hosts for this talent show at this Ocean Drive Inn. And so we went there, my buddies and I went there, and my buddy's like, "You should go up and do something funny." We didn't even know. We didn't say, like, go do stand-up comedy. We didn't know anything about it. Just, "You should go up and do something funny. You go be funny. You're funny." So I said, "I'll go up and do something funny." He said, "Okay." The two guys, Dave and Dave, they did impressions, like John Wayne impressions and stuff like that. And they bring acts up, almost all singers. So they said, "You'll be after this next singer." Well, the next singer did two songs. "I'm a Yankee Doodle Dandy," and "It's a Grand Old Flag." July 4th, 1976. The place went crazy. People were jumping up and down. They were screaming. And so when this guy ended, I mean, people were standing up on tables screaming. And Dave Waddington turns to me when I was off the side stage, and he goes, "Come up." And he goes, "This next guy is going to do comedy." And as I reached for the microphone, this close, the entire audience went, "No!" Just one loud scream. And I recoiled, and he sensibly pulled the mic back, like not to give it to me. He said, "How about we bring out the singer again?" They went, "Yes!" And I looked back. It was such a great thing that happened, because if I'd have taken the mic and actually tried to, I had no clue what I was going to do. I had no plan. I didn't know jokes. I didn't even know what I was going to do. I was just drunk and going up there to be funny. I probably would have got booed so badly, I might never have done it again. So it was sort of like it saved me in a way.